I read an article on Coin World that I just couldn't pass up talking to y'all about. At first, I was like, okay, I really like this. I'm into it. This is great. I fully agree. And then it took a turn and I couldn't stop laughing for a while. So 2 weeks ago, we get this article, Collector Seeks to Refine Coinage. And in this article, Mr. Charles Jones had written basically to DOGE a recommendation to fix the problems we're having with our currency. And this is not just about the penny and getting rid of that. That's a part of it. It really focuses on an overall change in our currency that I want to talk about some with y'all, because I think this guy's onto something, but not because this guy's onto something. And I'm going to mention that in just a second. But basically, it's to reduce the amount of money we're wasting in our government and to make our money more efficient and work for us. And I have a few things I think should be added to this as well, and I'll mention those. So it was getting rid of the cent. Basically, was his first point. We need to get rid of the cent. We're spending almost 3.7 cents for every single one we make, which, as I talked about in my video I've already made about the penny possibly going away. It's ridiculous. We're wasting government resources, we're wasting taxpayer dollars, making something that's practically worthless. There's no value in it. He points out that the dollar bill has a really short lifespan. Paper notes just don't hold up in circulation well, and $1 notes wear out way, way too quick. But we already have a solution to this. The Mint made tons and tons of those Sacagawea dollars, all that kind of stuff that they're sitting on. They just have them basically hoarded, because back in the day, they really tried to change our coinage then by pushing the coin dollars, and it didn't work. It didn't take. People wanted to hold on to their bills instead of the coins. And his proposal is that we just stop printing it. Realistically, a dollar practically is changed now. Its buying power has diminished so much, because if you're like me and you're over 30 years old, you probably remember a point in time where the buying power of a dollar was a lot more, and yet now it's much less, but we're still printing it as a paper note. But since we already have all of those coins made, all we have to do is release them into circulation. Just push them back out there again like we tried to do decades ago, and it just didn't work then. And then just stop making the note, push those out there, advertise the mess out of it. We might have a solution. He also mentions we need a $2 coin. And honestly, I think that's a great idea as well. I mean, we don't even use the $2 bills that we're still printing. We're still printing $2 bills. A lot of people don't get it. They're not rare. We're still making ridiculous amounts of $2 bills. And there's no reason for it. We don't even use those in circulation. A $2 coin actually might be pretty rational. So his actual plan of transition is get rid of the cent by the end of the year from production. But don't get rid of it as money. It's still money, but it's eventually going to be phased out. People are eventually going to get tired of it. It's just not going to be a reissued, reminted coin. And reading this, a lot of Americans will probably say that's just revolutionary. But it's not. It's not revolutionary at all. It's just copying most of the rest of the world. It's literally copying Canada. Canada did this exact thing. They already had their loonies and their toonies, their 1 and 2 Canadian dollar coins, but they got rid of the $1 and $2 notes because they just didn't use them. They were already using the $1 and $2 coins because guess what? It's such a low value that having a coin was a lot easier than having the notes, because you get so many of those notes you have to acquire of $1 notes that it practically fills your wallet to get anything of substantial value. And my generation's parents could have taken a date to the movies for probably $3, but for me to take a date to the movies these days and pay with ones, I would have to pull out a wad of them that would make a stripper blush. And on top of that, Europe has been doing this as well for a long time. The €1 coins, I mean, that's a coin, it's not a note. So realistically, this isn't revolutionary. This is behind the trend. The U.S. just hasn't done crap with their money for a very, very, very long time. We've been sitting on the same system of $1 banknotes, 1 cent coins, all the same notes, all the way up to $100. It's practically been the same. We haven't really had any major changes since we got rid of the $500 bill. Because at the time, there was a problem with, who's using $500 bills? Probably people who were up to no good, because that was a ridiculous amount of money back then. Nowadays, $500 is not much at all. It covers some families' weekly grocery budget. So the reason that we don't have a $500 bill made sense in the 30s, it doesn't make sense today. I think we need to have a higher denomination banknote, a $500 and potentially even a $1,000 banknote. And with $100 banknotes being our highest denomination, buying something with cash is really difficult when it gets to be something of any value. Think about it. You go to buy a car and it's at least like, $6,000 to buy something that's used and moderately functional. So if you're spending $6,000, you have to have 60 banknotes to be able to pay for the car. Whereas, if you had a $1,000 bill, you could just have 6 of them. Or even if you just had 500, you could have 12. It's a much more reasonable number. I would also add to this, we need to change the way we're making our money. Sure, we put a little strip in the $100 bill, we've changed the colors, stuff like that. I think it's time that we start doing what a lot of other countries are doing and start going to notes that are like a recycled plastic or something like that. Something that's harder to counterfeit than what we've got now. And I think we need to be even further ahead than we are, like a lot of other countries have done, and go to some different materials and some different plans for anti-counterfeiting measures that we just are really not moving towards, in my opinion, quick enough. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that, to just revamp our entire coinage and banknotes so that we ultimately get something that is just at least on par with where the rest of the world has already been for decades, because we are so far behind in what I think where we need to be. So pretty much up until this point, I fully agree with Mr. Jones. It's great stuff. And then he decided to describe the $2 coin that he wants to have the mint produce for our bimetallic $2. Now, I like bimetallic, don't get me wrong there. But when you're proposing something to the government and you want to be taken seriously, if he had stopped there, it would have been amazing. But we went on to describe that he wants to have the $2. The background of the obverse is going to have the Mayflower, which, that's pretty normal. It's Mayflower. It's American, the Pilgrims, whatnot. But in the foreground of the Mayflower, we're going to have a hot dog and a cheeseburger to symbolize American food culture. I don't want to be reminded when I'm going through McDonald's of what I'm about to do to my body by looking at the coin I'm about to hand to the lady in the window. I'd rather just forget about it until I smell it in my car. Dude, this is where you make a separate letter to propose the crazy fast food coin you want the government to make. That way they take the first part of your letter seriously and pay attention to it. And then if they don't like the second part, they at least read the first part and took it seriously, and this could be in a separate letter. Apart from the hot dog and the cheeseburger, it would have the word liberty. It would have 50 stars around it. The eagle from the standing Liberty quarter would be on the reverse, flying, and with the words E pluribus unum at the top and God we trust at the bottom, and a laurel wreath around it. But I do think some of the laurel wreaths we've had on our coins are absolutely beautiful, and something like an 1859 Indian head cent laurel wreath would be pretty cool. And the other thing he wants to do is something I'm not a fan of. He wants to put the year and the mint mark on the edge of the coin, which is something we see with the dollars now, and it's absolutely annoying. You just can't readily look at the coin and know the year. That's annoying. And then the other thing, the mint does not have the best track record of putting the year and the mint mark on the edge of the coin without screwing it up. They either forget to put it on, they'll double it. There's been all sorts of problems we've had. If they want to actually have a coin that doesn't have the potential for a lot of trouble in their production process, edge lettering, I think, needs to go. The coin would also feature a high relief finish with textured engraving and anti-counterfeiting features, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Realistically, I don't know if a high relief is a great idea for a circulating coin. But nonetheless, how do y'all feel about the hot dog hamburger $2 coin that this gentleman wants to propose for the $2 coin, the first one the U.S. would ever make if we did go this route? And what do y'all think overall about all of it? Because, I don't have any problem with the first part. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short review of this very interesting article from Coin World. Go check it out. It's from February the 7th, 2025 on coinworld.com. But thanks for watching the video, and remember to leave the recommendation for the fast food coins for a separate letter.